Hello everybody, I hope you are well. Today we are going to learn how to factor trinomials. Good times ahead. So now we're going to start easy. We are going to only factor trinomials where we only have positive numbers. Now I'm going to glance down to the bottom. This is really where we're headed because in the very beginning of our notes here, these are not yet trinomials. So let's take a look at some of these words that we see here. So first of all, we see factor, and we've talked about what a factor is. The factors, those are the two numbers that we multiply. Like maybe we're going to multiply 5 times 7, and 5 times 7 is going to give us 35. Well, 5 and 7 are factors of 35, and 35 is the product, or the answer. And then we have the word trinomial here, and trinomial is a polynomial with 3 terms, and that might typically look like, I don't know, maybe x squared plus 11x plus 28. And that is a typical polynomial. So now we want to factor something that looks like this, but sometimes what I like to do is work backwards. So what we are going to do is start with the answer. We're going to start with the factors, and we're going to multiply this out and get the trinomial. Let's do that. So first we're going to multiply here. So now whenever I multiply binomial, flashback to last week, let's see what we remember. It's double distributing. So I'm going to distribute, and I'm going to use a pencil in case I make a mistake, because that can happen. So x times x squared, positive times a positive, 7x. I'm also going to distribute this 3 to everything in that second polynomial, so plus 3x plus 21. And now I'm going to combine any like terms that I see, and this final answer is x squared plus 10x plus 21. So here is our trinomial. And what we are going to do is we're going to try to figure out, if we're given this trinomial, how can I get back to these factors? Well, we're going to do several examples, and we're going to look for patterns in all of the examples to kind of come up with some method, some way to do this. So right now, if you could pause your screen and quickly multiply out these next 3, and I'll do them really quickly now. Okay, so here are our next few solutions, products, and these are our trinomials. So now what we want to do is say, okay, if I'm given this trinomial, or this one, how would I get back to this guy before it? Well, let's kind of just look at the general look. So from this trinomial, it looks like what came before it was 2 binomials in parentheses. So let's kind of start there. Let's start with 2 sets of parentheses. Also, in the beginning of each set of parentheses, I see x's. And you know what? Each time when I multiplied my first set of distributing numbers here, I got x times x, and that's how I got that x squared. So I do like that. X and x. And then I have to say, okay, well, how am I going to get the numbers 10 and 21? And using the numbers 10 and 21, somehow I have to get 3 and 7. So 10, I have to come up with the numbers 3 and 7 and 21. 3 and 7, well, I already have an idea. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to remember this 10, 3 and 1, and I am going to see if the other 3 trinomials also follow that same pattern. So now 7 how would I get the 2 and the 5? And with the 10, 4 and 6, oh, another 10, 9 and 1. I'm going up to this 10, 3 and 7. So it looks like each time here, I am adding numbers to get to that middle term. Now let's check out this last one. 3 and 7, well, 3 times 7 is 21. So my guess is that if I multiply the two numbers that go here and here, I'll get the last number. Well, let's see. That means I have to multiply to get the 10. Oh yeah, that's looking pretty good. And that would mean that I would want to multiply to get this last number of 24, 4 times 6. Yeah, that's looking pretty good. So this is what would happen here. I want to pick two numbers that multiply to give me 21 and that add, to give me 10. And those numbers are a positive 3 and a positive 7. If you put plus 7 here first and plus 3 in the second one, doesn't matter, same thing. Here, if I were factoring this, pretending I didn't know the answer over here, I would have parentheses, put x in the beginning of each because of this guy, and then I would say what two numbers multiply to give me 10, and I want to add them to give me 7. Plus 2 and plus 5, 2 and 5. Multiply to 10 and add to 7. Next one. I want two numbers that multiply to 24. Well, assuming I forgot where it came from, there's kind of a lot of choices here. So I'm going to write my choices out because I don't want to miss any. So over here in the margin, I'm going to write down the pairs of numbers that will multiply to give me 24. I always start with 1 in itself. 1 times 24. Right? We don't always have to do everything in our heads. 2. 2 times 12. 3. 3 times 8. 4. Well, 4 times 6. And 5 doesn't go into 24. 6 does, but you know what? I already did 6 times 4. So as soon as I start repeating numbers from this column, I'm done. These are all of my pairs of numbers that will multiply to give me 24. Now remember, I'm looking for the pair of numbers that will add to give me 10. And you will find it. If you don't find it, then that's a whole nother story. But right here, I start with my 2 sets of parentheses, x in the beginning of each, multiply to 24, add to 10. There they are, 4 and 6. Those are your numbers. Next guy here. Okay, so now, 2 sets of parentheses, x. I always set myself up because I feel like I'm halfway done, even though I haven't given it much thought yet. So now I want to multiply to 9. Well, the first thing that comes to mind is 3 times 3. But 3 and 3 don't add to 10. So sometimes when I'm totally drawing a blank, I'm still going to do my pairs of numbers over here, even for a smaller number. Always remember the 1 times itself first. 3 times 3, oh, and there it is. So sometimes this is the one that we forget. Plus 1, plus 9, and then we're feeling pretty good about that. So for these guys down here, what I'm going to do each time is set myself up with parentheses. Notice I have an A here. So I'm going to put A in the front of each set of parentheses, multiply to 4, and add to 4. What times what gives you 4? And when you add those numbers, you get 4. Well, 2 and 2. I'm sure you guys got those. Here's another one. Set myself up with parentheses, put A in the beginning of each, and now multiply to, well, I just did that. I just multiplied to 4, and I got this answer over here, but this time we're adding to 5, which is weird because 2 and 2 isn't 5. So when all else fails, that's when I go into my margin and I write down the pairs of numbers. Always remember 1 in itself first, 2 and 2. Oh, look, there it is. That's the sum that will be 5. And if we multiply this out, there's your a squared. 4a plus 1a is 5a, and 1 times 4 is 4. So right now is a good time to pause your screen, try the rest of them, and come back. So I'm just going to kind of do them real quick. Mostly because I don't know how to pause this without it stopping, because I have no idea how this record feature works. I'm not so good at it, and that's okay. Remember, it doesn't matter which one goes where. 40. 40 is a big number. If you don't remember it, a little margin space. Where can I squeeze it in? I'll squeeze it in here. 1 times 40, 2 and 20, 3 doesn't go in, 4 and 10, winner, winner, 5 and 8. Next guy over here. Ooh, 24. 24 is another one with a lot of pairs. Oh, look, let's go up there. We already wrote it out, so we're going to peek up here. We need 14. Here it is, 14. 2 and 12. Okay, so now there's this guy here. Be in the front of each. I am multiplying to get 11. Well, here's the thing. 11 is prime. There's not a whole lot going on with 11. All we have is 1 and 11. And you know what? When you add 1 plus 11, you get 12. So it works out great. Next up. M in the beginning of each. Where am I here? Okay, so now I want to multiply to 20. Okay, so 5 and 5 is in my head. And you know what? 5 plus 5, yeah, gives me 10. So I'm feeling pretty good about that. Here's M in the beginning of each. Multiplying to get 8. So 4 times 2. 4 and 2 doesn't add to 9, it adds to 6. So there has to be another pair of numbers. Always remember the 1 in itself, and 1 plus 8, yeah, that gives me the 9. So 1 and 8, those are our factors here. Here's the one thing that we need to be careful of. Now that we are done this, well done. Piece of paper, voila. What if we had something that looked like this? M squared plus 7m plus 2. Let's go with this. 2 sets of parentheses. I'm going to set myself up for success. M and M. Now, I want two numbers that will multiply to give me 2. Well, all I have is the 2 times 1. But I want numbers that add to give me 7. That's not going to give me 7. So here's the thing. There will be times when this is not factorable. So you will get a trinomial, and you will try to find a pair of numbers that works, and you can't. And when that happens, we say that it is prime. Just like when you have the number 17, and you try to factor it. Well, that's a prime number. 23 is a prime number. If you have a number like 10, yeah, you can get some factors out of it. But trinomials, polynomials, can also be prime. If you cannot find something that factors and works, prime. That's that. Okay, so there's extra practice for you. Hopefully you found it, and good luck.